Da-na-da-na-da-na-da-na-da-na. Do-do-do. Uh-oh. Wait a minute and try again. Let's try removing it. Remove it. And then let's add it. Save changes. Ba-doom. Are we live? I think we're live, aren't we? Let me get... Welcome to Mercury Retrograde. I'm Jeff Kravitz. Join me as my show falls apart on 420live.com. Not a .com. But hi, everybody. Jeff Kravitz, 420 Live. I got my glasses on. Everybody can hear me. I got the mic on. All right. We're doing this, right? Okay. I need a little bit more headroom here. There we go. That's a little bit better. So you can see just how bald I am. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday edition of 420 Live. Let me take these off. It was for my gag. I hope everybody's having a good week. It's been Mercury retrograde. It's a challenge. It's been very interesting. I decided not to fight the Mercury retrograde. I decided to go with it. As shit goes wrong and breaks, I'm just going to let it go wrong and break. So if I break down today on the show, you will see the slow breakdown. There's a lot of stuff going on today. We have dueling presidential town halls today because our president didn't want to. He didn't want to do a virtual. He didn't want to do it virtually. We can hear you. You can see me. Good, Zorn. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you guys can see me. Hello, Mr. Foster. Hello, Zorn. We have our friend Mark Clark coming in from New Orleans. It was his birthday yesterday. But, the first thing I wanted to do was today is the last day to fill out your census. So you can actually do it here on paper. And the questions are pretty easy. How many people are living or staying in this house on April 1st, 2020? Where are any additional people staying here? Is this house, apartment, a mobile home? What is your telephone number? I think I can answer this. So you got to fill out your census if you haven't, if it's been sitting there like mine has. Today's your last day to do it. It's so they know how to allocate the different areas for voting and stuff like that. So yes, the high retrograde, the high hydroponic retrograde show, the Mercury retrograde show. As we watch our world, it's not bad enough that our world is crumbling and so much being thrown at us so fast that we can't make heads or tails of what's going on. But here we are, and we're, in the middle of this election cycle and all this garbage is being thrown at us every day. There's so much coming at us. It's really hard to make heads or tails and to figure out what to do. And it's funny when you start arguing with your friends. I mean, if you still have friends that have political differences than you, if you still have friends, if you're still engaging with people that have different political views than you, I still have friends that have different political views than me, and I engage them, and then their troll friends all chirp in, and next thing you know, you're arguing, and I just it sucks so much of your time and energy. I'm kind of trying not to get involved, which is why I really got rid of a lot of the people that were creating the noise in my life and just tried to clear the air a little bit, because you don't need to get all aggravated on social media thinking you're going to change someone's vote. It's not going to happen. People that are supporting our president are going to support our president. People that are supporting Joe Biden are going to support Joe Biden. But last election, there were 3 to 11% of people that were undecided when it came to the election and didn't know which way to vote and just sat there. And headcount.org, which is the organization we've been founding, found 1 million voters up since they started, which is pretty incredible. And considering they got like 300,000 people sign up from the David Dobrik Tesla giveaway. If you got to give away cars, get people registered to vote, do it. Main thing is that people are registering to vote. Almost 17 million people have voted already. They're out there. They're making a difference. So your ballot's sitting there. It's time for you to have a plan. You need to have an election plan. We all know the way to do it, how to handle it. We're going to go in there and we're going to give it our all. And like I said, you can engage with the other side. The 3 to 11% undecided, that's where we're aiming our energy. And then the other half of that is aiming our energy at the 46% that did not vote in the last election, which is kind of embarrassing. And obviously, those people are activated. That's what we're seeing now. And this is why people are in line in Georgia, because they saw what happened in the primaries. And this is why people are in line in Kentucky, because they want their voices heard. And in Texas, where they've knocked it down to one drop box per county. So people are trying to make this election, they're trying to do everything they can to make it go away. And the people are resilient. Everybody is stepping up and voting. So congratulations to everybody out there that's voted already. That's impressive. I did read something crazy that there's more people on unemployment than that voted for Donald Trump in the last election. So if all you people on unemployment know why you're on unemployment, you're going to get out there and vote. We're going to put this guy out of office, and we're going to get some kind of semblance of normalcy back. I think that where we've so far in the extreme, and it's such a big blow to everybody because it's just fragmented our society already even more. And the division is deep, and, it affects families. It affects friends. I talk to many friends that are like, I can't engage with people anymore. So we're going to engage today with Mark Clark, a friend of ours out of New Orleans. He's a tour manager, runs a website, Teaching Tour Managing 101, which we're going to find out how that's applicable in this day and age. Hello, Mark Clark. How are you?
Hey, Jeff. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Happy birthday.
Dude, thank you. I can't believe I made it to 33, especially in the new world we're living in right now. New COVID-19 adjustment it's been interesting to say the least. And I know that you've been dealing with it like most here in the country right now, which has been a tough thing for a lot of people. So I'm just thankful to have my health and a roof over my head at this point.
Now, I'm sure. How have you been staying alive and surviving during these times?
I've been just trying to kind of follow the guidelines and follow the, our government here in charge, whether it's wearing a mask and social distancing and keeping a core. I have a core 5 people that I've been sticking with since March. So I've steered away from large groups and just kind of taking it 1 month at a time. So I managed to kind of follow the guidelines and not getting tested once a month. And so far negative. And so I've kept it. I've done my part, I feel like, to the best of my ability to keep my distance, always wear a mask, follow guidelines, keep my core group small, steer away from large groups, and just be very cautious and make sure that I'm keeping things clean, keep my hands washed. So,
well, take us back to March. Were you on the road?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate to have had a tour this year, which seems so long ago now. And this one definitely goes out to all of our crew and tour managers, production managers, staffing venues, everyone that's out there that we're waiting on the spring to start tour. I was very fortunate to get a winter tour going into 2020, and not a lot of people did. Some people were waiting out to cusp of spring going into summer. And COVID hit right before that happened. So some people haven't toured for a while now.
Who are you out with?
I was out with American Authors and Magic Giant. We kicked off in January and ran through March, ending at Webster Hall. And we kicked off at 930 Club. So it was a special tour. It was a lot of Fillmore's, 930 Clubs, Webster Halls, those type of theaters running through the United States. It was a North American bus tour that ran for 2.5 months, and ended right before COVID hit. The timing was perfectly kind of dead on. Like, I'd finished our accounting and everything and passed it off, and as soon as that was wrapped up, we literally went right into quarantine. Right, it just hit as soon as I was wrapped up, and haven't toured since.
Unbelievable. And did you have plans to go out? You had more work lined up?
There were some things in the works for the spring, and then that always develops into the summer. Most artists will have festival season, will run all through summer. But right as those talks were about to happen, COVID happened. So all those conversations took a break, and we were trying to weather the storm and figure out how long that was going to run for. And obviously we're still in it. So it's unfortunate, but I know we're all doing our part to weather the storm. So.
Yeah, it's been very hard. How have you been making money during the pandemic? Not to
I
be personal.
I'm very fortunate that my business team behind me advised me to start my own business going into last year. So I was able to take advantage of SBA grants and loans, and I had already put a year away as a plan B just in case of emergency. So I wasn't like too tight going into this emergency. I'd planned in case there was something did occur. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to secure any work through my skill sets during this pandemic, but I've just fallen on the assistance from our country up to this point and just relied on my savings and investments and things that have helped me kind of stay afloat and ride this out. So,
Well, how important is it that they didn't do a stimulus package to increase your unemployment and stuff like that?
that stung a little bit because I'm like, man, we really got to get our priorities in check, and we got to kind of settle our differences and get focused. I think that making everything so political is dragging the process, and a lot of people don't realize that even if they did confirm the stimulus package, we aren't going to see any of that until like 2 months later, or until January. So the longer we delay, like even the stimulus checks, once it was approved, didn't come in until 2 months later. So easily we're looking at 2021 until we're going to see any type of financial assistance. If we delay until after the election, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we do not see that happen. We easily won't see any support until January, February for sure, which is just really, it hurts. I mean, it stings a little bit. Like even for me, like I gave myself a year here in New Orleans. I know we can talk about New Orleans after this, but it hurts a little bit, like we work hard to build a life for ourselves and have a strong career in this industry, to see it to our country not to take us seriously and not want to give us support and tell us just to go find a new job.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that they want to support the coal industry, and there's more people that work in Broadway than work in the coal industry. I mean, and they don't want to put any money towards the Broadway workers. They don't want to do anything for the small clubs. They don't want to do anything for the people that work, that bring us the joy. And it's hard because guys like you and I, our business is being amongst a lot of people. I mean, that's the business.
Yeah, it hurts. I mean, when I'm sure you saw the Save Our Stages event, We Make North America event. I had my hand in that with Ray. That
was last night, right?
Well, they've done multiple events, but like the first big We Make America events, me and Ray with RZI Lighting, he spearheaded a lot of the conversations, but I came in and helped him. We got Tip Tina's on board, Joy Theater on board, the Fillmore New Orleans on board. We got Harrah's on board. We got the Superdome, the Smoothie King Center, Maple Leaf. That was a big night for us, and just getting to see the whole city lit red.
Right. Yes. That was huge. And I think there is something I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. There's another Save Our Stages event. I think it's a 3-day event. I believe it's all weekend that they have things scheduled that coming up. So
yeah, they've been running different types of events. Here in New Orleans, we've been trying to keep that alive and let our city know and advocate for assistance. Our mayor and governor know that we're here. We've sent letters to them continuously, being like, please, reach out to the senators and like try to push this through. And that's the best we can do. I mean, we're trying to get it up the chain, and we're trying to be loud.
But you guys were going to be in that $2.4 trillion stimulus package. That's where this money for the Save Our Stages, for what is it? Institute, NIDA or
NIVA, National Institute of
Independent Venues, National Independent Venue Association, right?
Yeah, and I'm not even really worried about myself. More so worried about the history and continuation of our industry. I mean, if we don't get support for our independent venues, we'll have nowhere to do gigs.
No, you're absolutely right. I saw Johnny Ray today posted that New Orleans is allowing indoor gathering or music. There would seem to be a lot of rules, and I didn't have time to read through them all.
I'm holding my breath. I live 2 blocks off Bourbon Street, and these phases that go through, um, you you would hope that everyone is like, say, like you or me, right? Like no one has to tell me to wear a mask and wash my hands and do my part to keep my community safe and so on and so forth. But the South, unfortunately, is stubborn. Like half the people don't want to wear masks, and if they're going to get any type of allowance to do anything, it is a full open door situation. There is no like little inches here and there. Like I won't even go near Bourbon Street. I mean, last weekend it was shoulder to shoulder on Bourbon Street. I mean,
so Bourbon Street, but everybody's outside. They couldn't be inside, right? And everybody, I guess, set up a bar so they could serve right to the street.
Everyone will try to manipulate the rules and regulations as much as possible.
Well, come on, it's New Orleans. I mean, that's what it's known for. I mean, that's why we go there, actually.
Yeah, I mean, especially in my neighborhood. I mean, the French Quarter never sleeps, and but the bars are really trying to do their part. I would say Bourbon Street is kind of stretching it. People want to gather and drink their drinks outside. Bars can only serve to go drinks. So people can get drinks and hang out in the street and walk around the French Quarter and things like that. But bars genuinely want to do it right. The local bars that cater to like locals that live here in the neighborhood, we're trying to get through the phase system right now. So if we make it to the end of this month, bars should be able to have tables and let patrons come inside. So right now, bars without food permits can only serve to go drinks. So people can get drinks and walk in the street and do whatever they want, but they can't have anyone in their bars yet. So,
okay. And how about restaurants?
Restaurants have been good for the last for a minute now. It's 50-50 because it's not mandatory that these bars or these restaurants open up, and some
there's indoor dining. It's 25% or something like that right now.
Yeah, I've gone out and eaten dinner on a couple accounts, and they've been doing it really well. New Orleans restaurants have way more to lose. I feel like they have their staffing and team, and it's a little more to navigate. They have control over how many tables they can have in their restaurants, and it's reservation mandatory. So you can't just walk into a place. You have to reserve a table and a time and so on and so forth. So, and that's across the board. So in order to eat and like go to a restaurant, you have to set a reservation for most places. So,
right.
Yeah.
And for as far as indoor music, what are they saying? Because what is that part of what they approved, or was just indoor but no music?
That is the new phase. So we're in like the 3.0 phase right now. So this Saturday is going to be like 3.2, which is going to allow music, but you can't have singers and you can't have
horns,
a horn playing, which is like every band in New Orleans. I'm like, okay, so who's performing? I mean, a bass player, maybe a guitarist.
Well, I think if they put a surgical mask over their bell, maybe you could play the horn, but I think they're worried about the air coming out of the horn going into the room, right?
I'm genuinely intrigued by how these venues are going to think outside the box to make this work. It's going to definitely be a sight to see over the next couple of weeks. I'm just hoping it doesn't get too crazy, because if these doors start to open, what I'm worried about the most is tourism. The tourists come in.
Are there tourists, and where are they coming from? Everybody driving in?
I think a lot of them are like Texas and Alabama, all local people driving in from out of state that are kind of relatively border cities, are for the most part tourists that are coming in to visit. But they don't wear masks half the time. They don't. I'm trying to think of the right.
But do you have to wear a mask like if you're in a hotel? Do you have to wear a mask when you walk into the lobby? I would assume that.
Yeah. There's standard mask protocols and things like that across the board. But when they're walking through the streets and there's like mass groups of people, like they don't have masks on and they're just walking around. Like people cross past my place every day and no one's wearing masks. They may have masks on them, but it makes it super unsafe for all the locals that live here in the neighborhood. Like just a bunch of groups of people out of town that are walking around with no mask on.
How have the numbers been?
Good enough for us to be in. We're moving along in our phases. I think our numbers have been down because that's how they initiate our phases. So right now, we've been pretty good. I don't have the official statistics to give you, but I know that our deaths have been down and our COVID cases have been down. I know that we're still regular. I know we're still like a hot spot location on paper, but our numbers have been lower. So we're going down, which is good.
Well, yes. I mean,
yes.
it seems like that, but I also see that we had 52,000 cases come up too.
What were you saying? You cut
I
out.
said I also saw that we had like 52,000 cases come up too. Like in the past couple of days, it's been in the 50,000 a day, people getting affected in the United States. So that number's incredibly high for where it is. And, you know, there's other states that are really active, like Montana and South Dakota, and a lot of the very red states. Is New Orleans feeling red?
You know, I think New Orleans, honestly, we could go blue this year. I want to shout out, I want to see if Katie texted me. So Katie McDonald's the team lead here for head count. Shout out Molly Farrell, who I love to death, who's spearheading literally all of head counts, movements and team leads around the country. Katie McDonald runs our head count here in New Orleans. And I was seeing if she could send me some statistics. She told me the other night, like that New Orleans could turn blue, that she's convinced that New Orleans is blue for sure.
Well, New Orleans is a blue part of the state, but the state's pretty big.
Yeah, she said that she didn't see specific numbers, but she said this year alone, New Orleans has seen record numbers of registrations for head count, the most that she's ever seen. And for the most part, it's all been leaning blue. And for tomorrow, our early voting kicks off in New Orleans tomorrow. So for anyone that's on here with New Orleans, I hope you're registered, you have a plan, and you're ready to get out.
Registration's closed, right, in Louisiana? If you're starting voting tomorrow, it must have closed.
Registration closed on the 13th. Early registration kicks off tomorrow. Just check what parish you're in. I'm in the Orleans parish, so I'm going to go to the Smoothie King Center next to the Superdome. That's going to be the easiest big stadium to get in, get out of.
Right.
But early voting kicks off tomorrow, so I'm excited to get there and cast my ballot. So
they've been waiting up to 12 hours in some places.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. I'm hoping to miss that with early voting, and there's a lot of options as well. There's easily around 8 polling stations per parish, so that I think going with the biggest venue possible will ease up the time on that. So, but who knows? I mean, New Orleans is still a little small. You know, it's not a huge city, so I'm hoping that the lines aren't too crazy.
Yeah, let's hope. Tell us about tourmanagement.org.
Okay. So Tour Management 101, it is a free resource. If you're interested in becoming a tour manager, if you're a tour manager trying to dust off your skill set, or if you're just an experienced tour manager in general and you just want to stay fluid in your craft, we cover a full demographic across the board, from advanced skill sets, which we just kicked off 2.0 2 days ago. We celebrated 50 webinars a couple weeks ago, and congratulations. I know that you've celebrated some milestones as well, because you were starting. I remember the first day you did your first stream and you were trying to navigate what you wanted to do during COVID, and then it all just kind of fell in place.
Well, it fell in place. You know, I forced things in, and there wasn't many options I had. You know, this was something that was easy to do, but you're right. You're learning. It's on the job learning. Was Tour Management 101, was that something you had before COVID?
So this was a post-COVID. This idea came across as COVID started to unfold. There's a site called BobNet, which is just a touring crew. There's jobs that'll be posted and things like that. It's a big industry directory. Most people that work in America or in touring international are on BobNet. So we started seeing a bunch of different live opportunities. People were like, would anyone like to teach X, Y, and Z? And I didn't see anyone post anything for tour management. So I thought that might be a great idea to kind of give it back, pay it forward, and see if anyone was interested in learning tour management. And the response was massive and well received. And then I was approached by a couple great tour managers. We have 6 tour managers that are on our panel right now who tour manage across the board: Prince, Tyler the Creator, Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, Collective Soul. So we have a lot of firepower in our panel. And we thought we were only going to do 10 in the beginning. We didn't think that we would have gotten to 50 and be starting our fall semester now. So we're full.
And it's all free.
It's 100% free. That was our mission statement, was that we wanted to give it back. All of our templates, from budgeting, advancing, writers, managing your own finance as a touring crew professional, it's all there. And we're huge diversity based tour managers and trying to push that forward. Those are our morals and what we're trying to do. So diversifying the platform and trying to change it, whether it's green and green initiatives to just about everything you can think of. So it's great. If
have people use it as like kind of a place to gather and just be together with other tour managers, just because nobody's out on the road right now too? Has it become like a kind of a hub?
We do have a really strong community, and we're thankful that not only our students that have been here with us from day one have learned so much, and a lot of agencies and management companies now are putting their new staff and people that might potentially be touring or referring them to our platform to teach. And on top of that, we've gotten some great opportunities from colleges that have reached out and tried to get us to breach our platform into a collegiate platform, which is a new thing on the low, but we're working on some new fun ideas to take TM 101 to the classroom. And we have a lot of fun things in store for Tour Management 101. We're not slowing down anytime soon. If you are aspiring to be a tour manager, we have tour managers that work for probably all your favorite bands are a part of our webinar. Like, and even just speaking in New Orleans alone, like we've had Reggie Toussaint, who runs Jazz Fest, has been with us. We had Sig Greenbaum, who works with Voodoo Fest. We had George Porter Jr., who was on our webinar last month. We try to bring in New Orleans as much as we can. And we've shouted out Tip Tina's and Galactic, and we love all those guys and love to just bring the city in if we can. So it's been fun.
So what's the conversation amongst you and your contemporaries, your colleagues, about when things are coming back?
It's been a bit of a rocky conversation. I mean, I'm being a realist in the situation, being like 2022. Maybe. I mean, yeah, we can keep playing like the Band-Aid kind of temporary solution based music events for now, but like
you're talking about the drive-ins,
like
and
drive-ins, little theater things here and there, the COVID pods, all of those are temporary. I mean, I'm hoping that isn't the future of our industry. And I know that everyone wants to get back in the venues. They want to get back to work. They want to get on tour, the real industry come back, the engine start of our music business again, which people are doing their best to be innovative and think outside the box and play by the rules and things that have been given to us now. But it takes years to get this engine back up. So realistically, we can speculate all day long, but without a federal mandate of how we can really have a foundation to restructure our industry safely within new laws and regulations of how we can have protocols in place to keep fans safe, we're just speculating, and we won't truly be able to start until we get that solution first. And then once that happens, I mean, easily it takes years for these festivals to get up and running again, and they'll have to rebuild themselves from the ground up, whether it's rebooking, restaffing, you name it. It's going to be a journey trying to get
every day I see somebody from AC Entertainment yesterday posted, "Hey, I've been here since 2004, and I'm finally trying to do something else because we don't know what's going to happen." So people that have been in jobs for over a decade are now finding themselves without work and in an industry that we don't see when's coming back. And you have different states, though, like Florida and Tennessee and Texas, that are saying that we can have full capacity. Ron DeSantis wants to see 65,000 people at a Dolphins game. And it doesn't that like make everybody pull their hair out that's in the industry sitting there going like, what the fuck?
I think people can try to find gray areas when they want to find it and try to find the sense of normality. But I know at the end of the day, Live Nation and the major heads in this business are following the doctors and scientists and aren't going to put fans' lives at risk. They aren't following a state-by-state mandate.
No, Right. It has to be a national.
It has to be a national thing. Like, we can't get buses back on the road. Also, you're looking at a lot of the major headliner bands today fall within that age gap that would be like kind of a COVID-19
nightmare
festival to COVID-19. So a lot of older bands don't want to perform whatsoever, and it's not worth it, right? And then on top of that, bands, they're already saying they're going to cut those prices in half. Amphitheaters, venues, so on and so forth, they're going to be cut in half across the board. And the unfortunate side of that is that these venues are capped out to be a win at sellout. So 100% now we can't do that right at the moment, and we're going to have to cut everything in half. So now prices are just going to go up and so on and so forth. It's a bit of a juggle, and it's definitely a pyramid adjustment, cutting everything right down the middle and trying to restructure everything. And but I think safety and protocol should be the forefront of all of this. And I choose safety over everything else. I
agree with people are going to get out, and they are going to figure out ways to do shows, and they're going to be smaller shows with smaller bands in people's backyards or at smaller venues. And then you're going to have your drive-ins. I see a lot of these bands, when I interviewed the guys from Goose last week, and they're like, yeah, you guys doing drive-in shows in California? Like, can we come out there? And I'm like, yes, come on out. And even Jen Hartswick, when I talked to her last night, I'm like, you need to come out here in the winter, because you're not going to be able to do that in Vermont. And their game, I think that there is going to be some kind, there's bands definitely going to do some kind of tours. I don't think it's going to be a bus on the road. It's going to be coming in and doing 3 nights at a weekend in one place and then going home, and then maybe 2 weeks later doing another show and stuff like that. But everybody wants to play, and we want music, right? People want music.
Yeah, right now people are getting that itch, and I'm curious to see how it unfolds with the winter coming up as well. I don't know if the drive-ins will hold on during dead of winter, especially in Michigan.
No, I don't think Michigan, Vermont, or Connecticut. It doesn't
be cold. That's gonna be
I have friends in New York who are already complaining about the cold. They're like, oh, it just turned like that. And I get it. I understand. But California's where it's hot. Arizona has great weather. Nevada has great weather. So it could be done. I mean, they could still play. They just have to come out, and it has to be in a safe environment. I mean, I think Coachella, you're wearing that Coachella jacket right there. Yeah. That place is beautiful. Like, you could do the circles or the little boxes, whatever you wanted to do. It's very strange. Like, a lot of places can't open, even though the numbers aren't down. Like, there's different parts of LA where the numbers are different than other parts. But the way our governor is saying, you have to keep everything closed down until everybody's in the same spot.
That's the tricky part, right? So since our federal government put it on our states, now we're dealing with community conversations. We're dealing with mayors and governors and senators and all these things to play in different cities and markets. Some communities may not even want that to happen. Even if mayor said, yeah, like, could totally advocate for not having that in their space, because we're seeing that across the United States, that some event spaces are being sued by the neighborhoods and like people that actually live in the city that were like, we don't want that happening here anymore. And I think one that just happened recently was Yarmouth, that I think Goose just played at recently.
Well, Yarmouth is only going to be able to play, or it's the other one. It's
one of them's getting shut down.
Yes, it's the one that they're actually playing there for Halloween and it's getting shut down, but it's not getting shut down until after the fall shows. So they're letting all the shows that are on schedule be where they are, but they're like, look, the town's like, we didn't sign up for this. But, it's like an economic boom, too, for the town also, because all of a sudden you have people coming in and buying gas and staying in hotels and, shopping. So
I think it comes whatever one. I mean, I know it's going to be a city by city basis, how everyone's adapting to COVID. It could be a really small town and they probably had really low cases, and they may be fine with those type of events happening, because they, like, a good example is my hometown of Mobile. They're practically back open and going. That's only 2 hours from here. Their COVID cases were nearly nothing, and they aren't dealing with COVID because it's just such a small city.
Right. And even a place like China, which is one of the biggest countries in the world, they have they're back to normal. They're back to full on. Everybody's restaurants at 100%. And if somebody gets COVID, they test the entire town. I think they tested 9 million people last week in like 24 hours.
China is serious business. I'm very fortunate that I was able to tour over to China a lot of times, and their regulations and how they handle viruses and things like that are next level. They do not joke around. When I heard COVID-19 was coming over from China, I'm so used to wearing masks now from going overseas, because when I'm over in Asia, I'll wear masks more than 90% of the time. So I was very kind of adapted to the understanding what the importance of masks and trying to fight off, whether it's smog, disease, you name it. I knew that we were in for a ride. Very
crazy,
fortunate. But yeah.
Oh wait, South Farms. There it is. South Farms in Connecticut.
South Farms.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are kind of that's what I'm talking about when we're like juggling these things. It's like works as a Band-Aid, but we're great for a couple shows, and then all of a sudden it's canceled.
Here's a question: what do you think, from Max Blackman, lighting director?
Love Max, good friend.
What do you think happens when we restart? Opening of the floodgates? Will there be enough production workers as everyone is on tour? How many production people we permanently lose to change of careers? Because if you think about it, you could work 4 different tours a year, or 6 different tours a year, or however many people went out. And now if everybody's going out at the same time, when they open it up, I mean, it's going to be impossible, because it's going to take a while, right?
It's going to be nightmare. I personally think I'm one of those people that don't test the iPhone first. I'm going to like kind of step back, let everyone kind of test run it.
Download that software first. Let me see how to get the bugs out.
I'm going to watch with binoculars. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I'm really hoping that more people are getting involved with these COVID-19 courses. I just took a COVID-19 compliance officer course, and I'm going to be taking a World Health Organization course soon, to have a full rounded understanding of safety protocol, and keeping our fans safe with anything in regards to COVID-19, and being able to kind of spearhead that, which I think is going to be a mandatory skill set soon. I mean, right now you're starting to see a wave of a lot of crew people are starting to take all the COVID-19 courses. But I think when we do start seeing the hiring process come back, those are going to be some key line items management companies and artists are going to want to have.
I mean, you have to have a COVID compliance officer on your tour, and that's a whole new line item in the budget.
Yeah.
So that's a new career for people to study, because every time I've been, with the couple times I've done a shoot, there's been a guy there that'll tell you, hey, you guys are too close, even with masks on. Back up, take everybody's temperature when they go in, make sure everybody has filled out their questionnaire right and has their most recent test. I mean, it's a whole process that, you're right, it's going to be a whole nother job. Talk about one of your other passions, New Orleans Recycles. We all know how trashy it is down there.
Man, we're on it. So New Orleans Recycles was kind of a concept of, our voice is just so low and inconsistent on recycling here in New Orleans. Luckily, we have great contractors that are signed up to be with New Orleans for the long haul right now. What had happened, a brief little history of it, there's been some tug of war with the city and contractors that were handling recycling over the last couple of years, and there was a fallout. So there was a window where we just couldn't recycle. There was no one that was contracted to recycle in New Orleans. And that is all fixed now. So the voice has been really low. I didn't even know about it. I wanted to recycle, and the city did some posts, but they weren't really pushing a big campaign around it. And I thought it'd be a great idea to create a page to bring our community together, amplify their voice, and bring everyone together around recycling and make it louder. And it's been well received. Every government social media handle in New Orleans has followed my page. They post things that I post about recycling. They use me to amplify their stuff. They'll send me things if there's any recycling news or anything like that. And I'm just here to help people get set up. It's free to recycle in New Orleans. It's too easy to recycle. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Well, I know China's no longer taking the plastic. So who takes the plastic?
I don't really have too much of the specifics of where the plastics are going. I know that they do recycle majority of pretty much your standard run of the mill. We don't recycle glass. The city doesn't recycle glass, but glass half full in New Orleans recycles all of our glass. So if you are in New Orleans and you don't know how to recycle your glass, reach out to me. I'll help you get set up. And in New Orleans Recycles page, all the links to get set up for recycling here in the city is free. They'll send you everything you need to get started recycling, and it's free pickup and it's free drop off.
Wow.
So it's too easy to recycle in the city, and it's just not loud enough. So I've been spearheading that initiative to put it on a loudspeaker and try to help people recycle more in the city. So it's been a great initiative so far.
Well, you've been doing the Lord's work, Mark, staying busy, keeping people plugged in, educating people on your industry, helping the city of New Orleans get back on track. Is there anything you wanted? Do you have a message for everybody out there?
That, I mean, not to do like a cliche post, but we all are in this together. You know, you got to stay productive. You got to keep your head on. Don't be afraid to talk to your friends or reach out to anyone if you have something weighing on you. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, I believe. So it's very important to reach out to someone, have a good support system. And there's always try to find a way to keep giving back to the community, and that will not steer you in the wrong direction. It'll put you on the right path. So,
well, great. Thank you so much for coming on today. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
A lot of love out there to everybody in New Orleans. You know, it's one of our favorite places on the planet. And, you know, I just can't wait till we're back to normal, to our normal hijinks.
Man, I cannot wait. I miss Jazz Fest. That one stung really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Got canceled. And that one is hard. That is my favorite festival in the world. And it hurt this year to see those go down. So no one's more excited. And I know you are waiting as well, but maybe we can do a catch-up call sometime down the road, and we'll see once we get past COVID here, and we'll see how everything's come back together.
Looking forward to it. Keep up the good work there in New Orleans, and give a lot of love to all our friends down there. We miss them.
I will. See you at Tip Tina's tomorrow. Tip Tina's, there's going to be some music going down at Tip Tina's around 5:30. So shout out Tip Tina's.
Outdoor thing?
There will be an outdoor piano show at Tip Tina's at 5:30 tomorrow outside. So
great.
If you're in the city, see you there. I'll be there.
Love it. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for coming on.
See ya. Thanks, man.
Okay. There you go. Mark Clark, tour manager extraordinaire. You saw his banners, New Orleans Recycles. Come on. What's better than that? And the tourmanagement.org, Tour Management 101. Get on it. Get your class. Even Max Blackman, you could be a tour manager next. You go from lighting guy to tour manager. Tomorrow we're going to New Orleans again. We're going to be talking to David Shaw from the Revivalists coming on the show. Really looking forward to that. David Shaw has some new music out that he recorded on his lonesome without the band, and it's really, really good. Just rocking. We've had him on the show before. He's really in touch. He's one of those guys that has a very good sense of himself and how important he is to the community down there. So we're looking forward to that. Revivalists are one of my favorite live bands. I cannot get enough of them. What else? I think that's it. Everybody, remember Mercury retrograde, October 15th. We're only one day into this, folks. It's going to get a little bit shaky out there. So stay safe. Peace, love, and happiness, everybody out there. A hug for all my friends. We will see you back here tomorrow, 4:20 live. Have a good night. See ya.